Buonasera, everyone, and welcome to the middle of Campo Di Fiori, having an aperitivo right here in the middle of a beautiful Italian street in Rome. And let me know where you're watching from. I'm Ariel with Urbanist, and we're just going to wander around today through Campo Di Fiori. Hello, everyone. So yeah, right now I'm drinking what is called a aperitivo. It is kind of a classic before dinner drink that Italians usually sip late at night, around like the hours of like 6, 7 p.m. Sometimes all the way until 8 p.m. because dinner sometimes starts at 9. So here's aperitivo, and the most classic popular aperitivo is the Aperol Spritz, which is just Aperol, which is kind of like a citrus type of liquor with some sparkling water. And it's really good. So right now I'm right in the area of Campo Di Fiori, in this kind of outdoor aperitivo bar. And all around Rome you'll find aperitivo bars where you can quickly sit down, grab yourself a drink. This place is awesome because they offer chips, a whole lot of chips for nothing extra. Some aperitivo bars are a little bit more upscale, and they offer you also like actual foods. Sometimes it's like croquettes, or it could be like tiny little salads or some rice, some breads. And that sometimes you only have to spend €8, €9. Right now I'm spending €7 because this place is a little bit more lower end, but it's awesome because you're right in the middle of an Italian street. So let me know where you're watching from and ask me anything before we go and walk through the Campo Di Fiori. Let me show you where I'm at. And this is so delicious. In this place, they're making it strong. You have it in restaurants, usually it's a little bit weaker. So this is my surrounding right now. This is the bar. It's called Snack Bar. Campo Di Fiori is only around the corner, so we're going to walk down there as I finish my aperitivo. Hello, Robert. Hello, Lorraine. You're finally catching me live. Amazing. So glad. There's a church right behind us. I wonder if it's also a Mary church. Hey, hello, Anna. So feel free to ask me anything right now before we start walking around, before I pay my bill and start walking around. Am I enjoying Italy? Yes, 100% enjoying Rome. It is an amazing experience to be around here. Absolutely loving it. The people are wonderful. The service is great in these restaurants. The food is amazing. People are very friendly. It's by far one of the friendliest cities I've been to. And also so much history just all around us. This history literally every single corner. I don't know, I have a feeling that church is going to be cool as well. I haven't been there yet, but yeah. Ask me anything. Hello, Anna. Hello, Christine. Hello, Lorraine. Hello, Robert. Hello, Kay. Hello, Adriana. Donna. Gail. Having wine later with your dinner. So, I have to admit, I'm having my aperitivo after dinner. So I ate this amazing dinner at a place called Cantina e Cucina. And it's a great place close to the Campo Di Fiori. Really great food and also really great pasta. I'll be posting photos of it later. I also had my aperitivo before that dinner. So just double aperitivo. Hello, Kedem. Welcome. Hello, Lynn. What are you drinking? So I'm drinking an Aperol Spritz. Aperol Spritz is basically the most popular aperitivo that you can have. Aperitivo, to clarify, it's like what it sounds, appetizer, but it's not food appetizer necessarily. It's mostly referring to the drink. The food is really secondary. So if you have an aperitivo, it's all about the cocktail. And the cocktail is usually more citrusy. Usually, there's citrusy cocktails. And to the Italians, they really care about the order that you eat food in. So they want something that's more citrusy in the beginning to kind of prime your stomach and your appetite for the mass amounts of food that you'll eat for dinner. During dinner, you usually have a wine or maybe a beer. And then after dinner, it's usually always a digestif, which is either after dinner cocktail. It could be like an espresso cocktail. It could be just an espresso. It could be espresso and a kind of digestif cocktail. And those are a huge variety. All right, I'm going to pay my bill, and then we're going to walk around. What are you going to have for dinner? I already had dinner. I'm still on kind of that American schedule. I'm not used to eating dinner at 9 p.m. So I had my dinner like at 5 p.m. and it was wonderful. It was really great. And it was Cantina e Cocina. I had ravioli with spinach and mozzarella. And I also had fried artichoke, which is a very typical Roman delicacy. And I'll be posting photos of it afterwards. Okay. It's so delicious. So ask me anything before we start walking. Pay my bill. It's a beautiful Italian street. I think that's one of the best things about Rome. There's not really like a lingering seating culture, so if you go to a restaurant, you won't really linger too long. Depends, but you might be there for 2 hours maximum. It's not like Paris where you can kind of linger in places. But when you go to these aperitivo bars, you can kind of linger, which is awesome, and sit in the street and kind of watch the world pass by. Brian, you like my shirt? Hello. Janice, welcome. And they love lemons. Indeed they do, yeah. Limoncello, that's a digestif. Excuse me, so digestif means digestion. Change. Oh, yes, some change. So my bill was only €7 for this cocktail, but it was worth it because it's outdoors. You're paying kind of for the ambiance, and also you're paying a little bit extra because they give you potato chips, a whole bunch of them. And Lynn, you say I have the best shirts. Thank you. And precious place to eat. It really is. Rome has amazing, amazing food. And we're going to walk around and see all the food places you can bump by, which is amazing. There's really great food all around. There's, of course, a lot of tourist traps, which we'll pass by as well. And I'll point them out. Grazie.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's get on walking. There we go. So this is where I was sitting. It's called Snack Bar. Highly recommend it. The Aperol Spritz was really strong. When you go to restaurants, Aperol Spritz sometimes tend to be a bit weak. That's the point of Aperol Spritz. They don't make it so you get tipsy from him. But I appreciate a stronger Aperol Spritz personally. It tastes almost like a Negroni. So it doesn't appear like I'm getting a lot of stares from my equipment. Not really. Not really. This is by far, I think, been the city with the less amount of stares from filming in public. I wonder why. I just have probably because it's such a tourist-heavy city. But New York and Paris are equally tourist-heavy, and Paris definitely has way more tourists than New York City, than Rome. And New York City almost equals Rome in terms of tourists. So, yeah, I don't know. It might be something cultural, but almost no problem whatsoever using my filming in the middle of of a bar right over here or in the middle of the street, which is amazing. I kind of like it. I stopped at that cafe every night before going back and had a glass of wine and read a bit. Yes, you can get wine also at these aperitivo bars. Well, they sell every type of liquor and also cocktails. You can get pretty big variety of cocktails. They'll make you a Negroni, they can make you a mojito. Unlike in the US, mojitos are a little bit harder to find, unless if you are kind of in a cocktail bar. So, I stay in a small hotel close to where I'm standing. Oh, wonderful! And Lynn, you say I have the best shirts. Thank you so much, Lynn. And enjoying God bless your travels. Oh, thank you so much, Glory. I appreciate that. Hello, Barrius. I'm doing well. And hello, Wanda from Woodbury. Welcome from Long Island. Wonderful. We're a long way from Long Island. Long Island. Lots of Italian Americans in Long Island. Now, one thing that really shocked me while coming here to Rome is that I was expecting Italian American culture to be similar to Roman culture. I see very few similarities, almost none. Italian Americans tend to be very different from Romans, and I think the reason is Italian Americans tend to usually come from, their ancestors tend to come from Sicily and below Naples, so Calabria, and also mixed with the American culture, end up making a pretty different culture. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is Campo Di Fiori. During the day, it's a market filled with farmers' goods, vegetables, fruits, all types of goods. And at night, it's a vibrant place to listen to music, sit down for aperitivo, or from some pizza, or from some beer. Now, I talked about tourist traps. These places, you're going to pay just for the view. You're not going to pay for the good food. Almost every single place here in this square does not have good food. I haven't tried them personally, but from what I read in Google Maps, almost all of them have mediocre reviews. You pay for the view, so you sit down, you pay for the music, and sit down and see the people pass by. But if you want good food, you have to go just 1 or 2 blocks away. Or if you want inexpensive aperitivo, like I did, just 1 block away, just like 30 seconds walk away. Hello, Gretchen. Hello, Javi. Hello, Steen. Now, this is very charming. This is a tiny little movie theater here, and I can tell that the Italians like their cinema. One, because Italian cinema has been very influential upon the world, and especially with American cinema. But two, is that there's a bunch of these tiny little cinemas all around the city. It's really cool. I'm show movies in Italian, so it'll be a little bit difficult for me as a non-Italian speaker to kind of just jump into a movie. But sometimes it's fun. There are no similarities. There's no spaghetti meatballs. You know, there is spaghetti meatballs here, but it's a tourist dish. So there are certain kind of dishes trying to appeal to the tourist. First the American tourist, but since American culture has kind of proliferated all around the world, people that come from China or that come from South America still kind of want those spaghetti and meatballs. So there's a few restaurants that sell spaghetti and meatballs, though it's not a traditional Italian thing, you're right. And there is a freddo, but it's not really an Italian thing either. It's the Italian-American thing. Christine, that's so awesome. I smell the shisha. This is like one of the very few shisha bars I've seen. Shisha is the water pipe tobacco. You'll be learning about shisha whenever I go to Istanbul and or Tel Aviv. Instead of having aperitivo there, I would have a shisha. Feel free to ask me any questions. No history today. We're just wandering around. Not for this particular video. For more history, stay tuned tomorrow at 3 p.m. Rome time. Now this is, well, I said no history, but you know, I can't resist. Sorry guys, I just can't resist. There's this really cool statue here, and it has actually a really cool history. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you some history. So this guy over here, his name is Abrivno, and he was a Catholic priest. However, he went up to study with the Calvinists and the Lutheran reformers, and he ended up really seeing the light for science. He fell in love with science, but more specifically kind of this alchemical science, kind of this magic that he called it, at least at that time. And he went back to the Catholic Church here in Italy, started wearing that hood all the time, and he started professing the wonders of magic. Roman Catholic Church did not like this during the Reformation, and they were executing the Counter-Reformation. So they executed this man, and they built this statue in the middle of Campo Fiori with his hood above him, kind of looking very solemn, in order to remind everyone, do not F with the Catholic Church. Okay, that's all the history I really got for you. I haven't really researched anything else, but that story I did know about, and I'm glad I bumped into that statue. So, this is Campo Di Fiori, and let me show you a little bit more of the restaurants before I go to the other side streets. And the music is so nice. That is really great music. I love guitar music. Sounds very kind of like Gypsy Kings. Provencia, bravissimo, grazie. So now my Italian pronunciation has improved, and I am getting Italian waiters and just people in general that I end up meeting speaking to me in Italian first, which is awesome. My first 3 days here, everyone just automatically spoke to me in English. Oh, Gretchen, I already drank. That was in the beginning of this video. Now we're just going to walk. I want to see a little bit more of this music. Let's check it out. Urbanist Live on Facebook. What? Oh no, you can find me at Urbanist Live on Facebook. Yeah. I explore cities all around the world. Yeah. Oh, that was so wonderful. Yeah, so the city is so filled with music. It makes me very excited to go to Dublin also, because Dublin I've heard is the city of music. But so far here in Rome, it's been one of the most vibrant music scenes, especially a good variety of music. In New York City, you tend to have a lot of buskers, but they tend to almost always play the same type of music. It tends to be singer-songwriters with their guitar or people playing like jazz or rock. But here you have this kind of classical musicians, and this is one out of like 5 that I already seen. So they're usually all around Rome. And then I've been bumping into Gregorian chants, which is amazing, like earlier today for the last Facebook Live. Here's a bookstore recommendation. It's a really interesting little bookstore. I like it. It looks like a bookstore out of a Fellini film. It's called Libreria Fahrenheit. It's a reference to Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Really cool bookstore. 7:45 p.m. and 69 degrees Fahrenheit. And it doesn't even feel 69 degrees Fahrenheit. It was a lot warmer than that. And yeah, his dog is right beside him, passed out. Now he's howling. Show you a little bit more of the restaurants. Usually when you have people asking you to come in, it's not going to be the best food, but it's going to be, you're paying for the view again. And it is a great view. I would, easily pay that. And they don't even charge too much for Aperol spritz. It's usually only about $6 right over here, this place. I think it's a really, really good deal. Here's Obica, which I actually did a tour of in New York City. Obica is originally from, I think, Milan, if I remember correctly. And they're a franchise here, a chain here, not franchise, they're a chain here in Italy, and then they expanded over to the US and a few other cities like Tokyo. Similar to Italy. Italy also started here in Italy. However, it started in the city of Turin. All right, let's walk down this way, since there's not that much on the other side. It's a great bookstore name, yeah, I agree. There's also a concept in Italian culture called, I might be mispronouncing this, so feel free to correct me, la passeggiata, which means kind of the passage or the walk. And la passeggiata, I haven't really seen it in full force here yet, but it's supposed to be where everyone, especially if you're from the city, Italian, starts walking through a main way. So it's kind of like a parade of people just strolling by. And apparently it's very kind of, sometimes people are making out in the streets, or they are lots of couples out, or people are kind of just hanging out, having a great time.
Later, I don't know. 5 minutes.
All right, let's see this little square. So I love overhearing the hosts of these more tourist trap restaurants because they're really good at what they do. The guy over there is speaking to a group of, I think, German women, and he's like, 4 minutes max. That's all it'll take to make the pizza. And I think he's saying that because he knows that they just want to keep on going, which is interesting. Oh, another bus car. This one has no audience. They're playing flamenco. Oh, I love this. Oh, it's more like a flamenco jazz. In Spain, you mean the host asked for people to come in? You know what? I actually didn't experience that in Madrid. Which city in Spain? So here is where you'll most likely find better food. On the street off to the side of the plaza. I don't know any of these places. I haven't tried any of them, but from what I've been learning, researching on Google Maps and walking around and eating at a few places that tend to be in these side streets. That's where the good food tends to be at. Hello, Casey. Welcome. All right, let's keep on going. This is a great music these guys are playing. Show you this pizzeria here. We'll kind of zigzag around. Hey, Casey. Oh, this is so cool. Iron Man done Native American style. Fascinating. Oh, Donald, you were talking about the pasajata. Yeah, in Spain they call it the ramble. Probably Spanish word for ramble. Oh, interesting. Walking to be seen and to see other people. Let's go back to the main street. I want to show you a little bit more on the main street, and then we'll kind of zigzag around once we finish main streets. Oh, Las Ramblas in Barcelona. Oh, interesting. Sorry, I meant to say Barcelona. Yeah, I would love to go there one day. Can't wait to go to Barcelona. I'm kind of feeling that I want to go back to Spain. Admittedly, I didn't like Madrid too much, but I just have the urge to go back to Spain. Something is calling me back to Spain. It might be Madrid and Seville. I feel like giving it a second chance. You wouldn't want to stay up them quiet side streets too long. So, Kay, I understand that sentiment. For me personally, I felt very safe almost in the entire city so far. It's been feeling really wonderful. Most other cities, I would feel a little bit more hesitant to walk through the side streets. A city like Madrid, definitely, or Bucharest. Even New York City sometimes in certain neighborhoods. But here, it's been feeling very quiet and very chill, even in the side streets. You still see people kind of strolling around. People don't avoid the side streets here in Rome as they do in a city like Madrid. Similar to Paris, everyone kind of just walks anywhere. However, streets here do tend to be sometimes a little bit darker on the side. unlike Paris, which is very evenly lit. And here we're back at the bar that we just passed by.
Yeah, I know. We were like, he was planning this trip to Turkey for what?
Gale, very rustic. So yeah, you often see tourists just still wander off to these side streets. You see how it's in any other environment this would look like a shady street, but there's a lot of people walking through it on a Sunday night, which is pretty impressive. Oh, is this the gluten-free restaurant? I think this is the gluten-free restaurant. That's why it's very packed. So this is a fully gluten-free Italian restaurant. They're selling pizza and pasta, but all gluten-free. You probably won't need to avoid gluten here in Italy because the wheat that they use for pasta and pizza is really high quality. Has a lot of nutrients. And also less gluten than American wheat, because American wheat is genetically modified and tends to genetically modify in the sense that they modified it almost 100 years ago in order to fight against pests. It's a very long story. Refer to my gelato video for all of the details. Oh, I'll point out the amazing coffee I had in the morning in the Maritoso. One of the best espressos and pastries stuffed with whipped cream I've ever had in my life. Period. It's really good. And it should be... It's closed right now, but it should be this door. It's right here. Cafes tend to close around, I think, 7 p.m. And someone earlier asked, are these apartments or hotels? Not really hotels. Hotels are kind of scattered throughout the city. But most of them are apartments. They're not offices either, so most of them are apartments. Here is a very great bakery. Also visited earlier. Check out my Instagram stories. Urbanist Instagram stories. This is Antica Forno Risole. Really, really great pastries. Among the best I've had also in my life. And they also have great pizza. Have I had any good fish yet? No, not yet. I really want to go to a fish spot. I think that's on top of my list now. I've already had my fill of pasta and pizza. Now I kind of want to try other things. So yeah, I'll be having fish soon. Here's an example of a hotel. They're kind of all scattered throughout the city. Let's see if this is good gelato. No, I would say not. So one way you can tell if it's good gelato or not, if it's a mountain. Usually the best gelato places don't have a mountain of gelato. It's much flatter, and they sometimes cover it with plastic encasing. The reason why the good gelato places do that is because they don't freeze it at such high temperatures. So when you freeze it at very high temperatures, you end up getting larger crystals, so it won't end up being as creamy. But when you have a mountain like that, that means it's frozen at much higher temperatures and it's able to stay frozen even when it's elevated. So that ends up not being as creamy. That's how you can kind of tell roughly if it's good gelato or not. Let's see which way to walk. Let's go back this way and go around. Oh, is it 8 p.m.? Another aperitivo bar right over here. If anyone has any questions about Rome, feel free to ask. I'm now officially an expert after 5 days. No, I'm just joking. If you want to get my perspective of being here for 5 whole days, let me know.
Yeah.
I know what we should try. Maybe we should get on the tram. Here's a park. Parks are not so well kept here as compared to Paris or New York, but they're still very, really relaxing place to hang out in and eat some to-go food. Lots of people waiting for the tram. Have I taken the metro? Yes, I have. I've been taking more buses than metro because buses are a little bit easier to get to the more historical places. Metros don't tend to be built underneath the historical monuments. So the same metro card is used for the subway or the underground. Here they call it metro. And buses and trams. Here's the tram passing by right now. These trams, I think, go more towards like the outer skirt neighborhoods. Oh, someone got canonized. Who was it? Does anyone know who got canonized? Oh, I think it was an English person. That's why the prince was here. That's so cool. Yeah, a lot of people, I assume, are here. We're about a 20-minute walk away from Vatican, so not too far away. There's more buses. Lots of buses pass through all these areas, and they're very efficient. They do pass every like 10 to 15 minutes, similar to New York. But once you're on it, it's a smooth ride all the way to your destination. And there's much more to choose, much more amount of bus routes as opposed to New York. or even Paris. So it's similar to London in the sense that there's bus routes to a bunch of different little locations all around the city. Also, it was John Henry Newman was one of the canonized people. Oh, awesome. Prince of Wales was there. I don't see many people with their noses stuck to the phone. No, not really. There's a lot less here than you would see in New York. American culture is weird. When for me, it's been very enlightening coming to Europe because growing up American, and I'm not so well traveled. I've traveled maybe more than a good portion of people I know in New York, but I'm not deeply well traveled. Only up until a few years ago, and it's been mind-opening seeing how many differences there is between New York culture and European culture. It's across the street. I want to show you Largo de Argentina, which we did a tour of for episode 1 of Mysteries of the Eternal City. Irma Dulce was another one, Brazilian. Oh, that's why there's a lot of Portuguese tours all around. That makes sense. I've been hearing a lot of Portuguese. I was wondering why. I was like, that does not sound Italian, or it doesn't sound Spanish. What is that other language? It's definitely not Romanian. It was Portuguese. That makes sense. Rome is a very relaxing city. So as a New Yorker, I like to walk fast, right? If I walk fast in a slower city like Madrid, it's weird. I will get very weird looks. Also, like a city like Bucharest, weird looks, people will just find it odd. Or they'll be scared. Which I don't blame them. I'm a large man and I'm walking very fast. But here, people are walking slow, they're taking their time, and even though I like walking fast, no one cares. No one gives a shit. They just let one pass by, and sometimes Italians are in a hurry and they just let pass by. It's really cool. It's really relaxed atmosphere. Relaxed kind of to all styles of life. Let's go towards the Pantheon and show you more. Over here. Ooh, 3 nuns were canonized. Interesting. Wow, a lot of people were canonized. Ooh, this area is much emptier at night compared to during the daytime. No, there's very little traffic enforcement, so there are cars passing through the historic districts. But they do give the right of way. Smell pizza. Hey, Donald, in honor of me, you're eating pizza. You're eating pasta. Amazing. What type of pasta? Let us know. So this is the Pantheon area. During the daytime, this is packed to the brim, as you saw with the live video a few days ago. But right now, it's much emptier. So this is probably not the best nighttime hangout. If anyone from Rome is watching, let me know. What's the most vibrant nighttime hangout? It is also a Sunday night, so it is expected that a lot of people are not going to be hanging out at this day. Dolores, do I have a good sense of direction? Yes, I do, despite me getting lost in my previous video. That was the first time I was ever in that neighborhood. But once I go in the neighborhood once, I start getting a very good sense of direction. So I can kind of orientate myself pretty easily if I've been wandering at least once. Give me a good hour to wander through a neighborhood, I'll know it. And here, it's a bit easier to kind of orientate yourself because of the major landmarks. So once you get to know a few major landmarks in the historical center, you'll know Vatican's that way, Pantheon's this way, Colosseum is that way, etc., etc. Here's the Pantheon, the backside of the Pantheon. The Rome Pantheon, not the Paris one.
If you go there, you have to really.
So, ladies and gentlemen, here is the Pantheon at night. This place is vibrant at night. Oh, interesting. They're allowing people to sit. Yesterday they closed the fountain very early for some reason. Oh, this is cool. You can get up to the doors at night. There's no rope. Oh, this is awesome. All right, let's explore the Pantheon. So cool. So cool to touch these columns. We'll see if anyone's home. Cue the door opening. Look how huge this door is. More details on the Pantheon a few episodes ago. And again, feel free to ask me anything about Rome or anything else. Let's keep on walking around. What else would you like to see? Let me know. Thanks for the night, Pantheon. Yeah, no problem. My pleasure. Let's check out this beautiful fountain up close. Another obelisk.
Ma dove sto a fare? Posizione, posizione. Corso. Ma perché fatto che ma che visto lo studio?
Have I been to the Trevi Fountain yet? No, not yet. But I will be doing a Facebook Live on its history and a few other places right nearby. Probably also the Piazza Navona. So I'll be doing Piazza Navona, Spanish Steps, and Trevi soon. Probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Well, time is flying by, so I'm going to do also Colosseum on the 16th. Are the people friendly when they find out you're American? They pretty much know I'm American immediately, or they know that I'm a tourist immediately. My Italian pronunciation has gotten a little bit better, so they are assuming I'm Italian for just maybe a minute longer. But regardless, I've been treated pretty well as either for them. I assume they assume I'm either some type of American or European or Latin American. But yeah, I've been getting good treatment so far. However, if the person doesn't know Italian, they kind of just, you're not going to get like very friendly service. It's not like that American smiliness. Here, you'll get friendly, but it's not as they do in America. Which in a way, it's good. It's a little bit more kind of authentic friendliness when you have Italian really give you great service. Or me, Italians, very happy. Ah, another busker. Ah, this street is pretty lit up. Here's another aperitivo spot. $5 for a Pearl Spritz. Such good prices here. As you can tell, a lot of people eat very late at night, even on a Sunday night. People are drinking wine, eating their pizza. Also, it's perfectly normal here to eat solo. So if you're a solo traveler, this is a very solo traveler friendly city. Here's a massive gelateria. They sell 150 different flavors. I'll show it to you. Oh, Lou, yeah, no history really today, just wandering around. It seems like they know how to live. Yeah, you know what? There's a really great lifestyle here. I really enjoy it. It feels very relaxing. There's a liveliness to it, though not really like big social pressure. It's not like in the U.S. The U.S. There's all liveliness and vibrancy, but going to bars tend to be extremely loud. But here you don't really have that scene. It's a little bit quieter, a little bit more low-key in a good way. Here's Grom, and Grom is one of those other chains from Italy that have been spreading worldwide. Also in New York City and in Tokyo. Let's check out this place. Look at this huge sign. La Dolce Vita. Oh yes, the sweet life. Also, there is this saying in, I think it might be Rome, but I'm not entirely sure where they got the saying from. But they say, dolce far niente, which means the sweetness of doing nothing. And in a way you see that in the streets, how people are kind of just doing nothing, just eating, enjoying life. There's less doing here in Italy than the go, go, go attitude of American culture. This place is lit up to the brim. No Starbucks in Rome. The only Starbucks in Italy is in Milan, and it's like a massive, gigantic theme park Starbucks. So yeah, no Starbucks in Rome. Rick, you love my site. This is so interesting. Thank you for doing this. My pleasure, Rick. If you're new to here, I also do history broadcasts. So this, no history, this is what I call wandering. So I'm kind of just wandering around with no certain direction, just enjoying life. Dolce fa niente. Been doing this even before I came to Italy. Oh. Martha, yes, I learned it from Eat, Pray, Love. I'm not entirely sure where Eat, Pray, Love learned it from on their end, where Elizabeth Gilbert learned it from her end, but Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, did indeed visit Italy, and that book, even though it's a work of fiction, is heavily biographical. Actually, no, it's not a work of fiction. Never mind. No, the book is nonfiction. It's a memoir. So she did listen to that saying. It wasn't made up by her. Great book. Highly recommend it. The book and the movie. I really enjoy the movie as well. The book, Elizabeth Gilbert, is just really great at just kind of what I call sensual writing. She just describes things so beautifully. And highly recommend to the audiobook as well, because she's great at just reading her own material. Really inspiring. Highly recommend Eat, Pray, Love before you go to Italy. Have you seen McDonald's? There is McDonald's. They're all around the tourist areas, and they are full. People do go to them. And I think, and I've seen Italians in there. I think, sometimes Italians just want to have that American fast food taste. But they're not that many, just outside the tourist areas, I haven't seen any. Domino's? No Domino's here. I think if a Domino's were to open in Italy, there would be riots. And that book was beautiful. I'm glad you agree, Lou. A lot of people like to bash the book, but they haven't read it. They don't know the beauty of Eat, Pray, Love. It's a truly mesmerizing book, and I think when you look at a book like Eat, Pray, Love, you have to put yourself in Elizabeth Gilbert's shoes. Elizabeth Gilbert is an American. I'm an American as well. If you grow up in America, especially with not such high income, you really don't think about coming to Europe. Especially if you grew up in the 90s or early 2000s like I did. Only about 10 years ago, prices to visit here were set at $800, $900 round trip. Way more than the $306 I spent to go to Rome round trip today. In the 1990s, especially for my parents, to spend $1,000 round trip to Rome, it's quite a big expense. And there was no cell phone, so you had to plan your trip. You had to either consult with the travel agent or know where you're going, buy books, buy maps, etc. It was a whole ordeal for an American to travel across the pond to Europe. Some did with very little money, and some did with a lot of money. But most people don't. I have friends of mine who still kind of struggle to come to Europe because there is expenses, and there is the perception that it is also very expensive as it was 10 years ago. So if you put yourself in the shoes of an American while you're reading Eat, Pray, Love, you'll understand why in Elizabeth Gilbert's book she had this almost awe-inspiring journey through Italy, and then India, and then Bali, Indonesia. That's why I think a lot of people kind of bash the book, because they're like, oh, this is a woman, American woman, all googly eye from pasta. It's more than that. If you grow up as an American with low income, in Elizabeth Gilbert's case, she was in a marriage. She was settling down. She was trying to have kids. It's hard to travel. It's hard to travel, whether you're low income or student or you're married, trying to have kids. It's hard to travel, especially if you're in America. And once you do get to travel to Europe, you do have that experience like Elizabeth Gilbert. I definitely did when I first came to Italy. So I think that's why that book is immensely beautiful. There's something really deeply wonderful about that book. So I highly recommend it. Put yourself in her shoes. I know for Europeans it might be a little bit difficult to do so, or if you're a younger American around my age where travel is much easier, it's also a little bit difficult. Put yourself in those shoes. But if you do, you'll truly see what she's talking about. Christine, yes. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Especially if you have already children or, you have family to take care of. It's a lot easier to travel to like Philadelphia than it is to travel to Rome for an American with some limitations. This place is highly rated. I haven't been here yet, but look at how beautiful it is tucked between these two buildings. Gail says, wow. Oh, cool. Oh, yeah. That's how much my flight cost. $306 round trip. It was that inexpensive. That's right, Norwegian Air. You sacrifice comfort. And also, I had to pay $50 for my baggage. So it ended up being more like $406. But nonetheless, very inexpensive. Baggage because, I bring equipment. If I just had clothes, I would not need to spend that extra $50. I also bring books because I need them for researching while I'm here. So yeah, traveling now is extremely cheap. If you are just starting to travel or are from Europe, it's easy to take it for granted. But travel used to be way more prohibitively expensive for anyone outside of Europe to go to Europe. And then you got to consider that in America, it's another weird thing about America is that we only have 1 to 2 weeks of vacation. Some places get away with 1 week of vacation. So the American coming here is also tested for money and tested for time. So that's why you have Americans kind of coming here to places like Rome, Paris, London, all wide-eyed, trying to experience all the stereotypical things. Because they're just trying to cram so much in. Which is maybe not the best way to travel, but can't you blame Americans for doing that? And same thing for the Chinese coming into this country. It's really far away, especially if you're from China. Can you blame them for trying to cram in all the touristy things, all the stereotypical things, when you have such limited vacation in a country like America? China is very similar as well. Yeah, I think that's when things get to better perspective. But then again, it's not the best way to travel. That's why kind of foregoing that anxiety of not experiencing everything will heighten your experience of travel. So when I came first here to Rome, I was working a 9 to 5, so I only had about 2 weeks vacation total the entire year. I decided to come to Italy for an entire week. I went to 3 different cities in Italy: Palermo, Rome, and Milan. However, I did know the downfalls of trying to cram everything in, trying to make an itinerary, eat all the pasta, go to all the museums, everything, right? I tried doing that before, especially traveling with family. If you come from that position, not having too much money, not having too much time, that's just the natural way of looking at it. But I was aware of that. So even though I had little amount of time, and I wasn't too tight on budget, but couldn't spend that much money, I decided to say, F it, I'm just going to enjoy Italy without any plan. So I made no plan. I made no itinerary. And by not making any itinerary, it ended up being one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had in terms of travel. I ended up kind of just enjoying the city in this deep, deep level. And for me, Rome was that, Italy in essence, but Rome specifically, was that very first experience of kind of just letting go and surrendering myself to the whims of a city. And luckily that inspired me to make Urbanist, because as I was walking around Rome my very first day here 6 years ago, I had no plan, so I just decided to just stroll around, across some bridge, went to this weird colonnade, went into a church because the line was very little and it was March, and it was St. Peter's Basilica. I literally did not know I went to St. Peter's Basilica until I was like, wait a minute, this is massive, and there's beautiful sculpture all around. And I knew I was in St. Peter's. But by having that experience of kind of just bumping into this beautiful cathedral out of nowhere, I really felt the magic of exploring the city on foot with no agenda. And that's why I love making these wanderings, and even through my history videos, you kind of get that sense of kind of walking in the park. It doesn't feel like an itinerary. It doesn't feel like a tour. I don't want to make it feel like a walking tour. I want to make it feel like you're hanging out with a friend around the city. Just how I felt around Rome, hanging out with my friends and just wandering around, looking at things. Luckily, I know my history, so when I look at them, I can kind of see, oh, that's that. So, yeah, if you are American, if you're out of Europe, if you're not a European, I would recommend, even though you're tight on time and might be tight on money, don't overplan. Don't try to cram. If you avoid cramming, you just might enjoy everything to a much fuller extent. It's hard to not cram because I know time is tight and money is tight. But surrender yourself to the city. Rome makes it easy. Another city like London also makes it easy. There's 2 or 3 cities in Europe that make it very easy. Rome, London, Paris also. Come to these cities, surrender yourself to the city, and you'll enjoy it in a much deeper level. Rather than making an itinerary, maybe read some history, or maybe watch a little bit more of my videos, for example, or read up your favorite memoir, or watch your favorite movies about the city, and kind of see it from that lens, rather from the kind of a didactic, itinerary, plan-based, gotta accomplish everything on the checklist type of lifestyle. And that's why Eat, Pray, Love was so popular, because Eat, Pray, Love was about a woman's journey going through that, telling herself, I'm not going to make a checklist. That's what she said in the beginning of the book. I'm not going to make a checklist. I'm just going to go to each city for 3 months and not do anything. She had the opportunity to go for 3 months, but even if you're here for a week, you could do the same thing, and trust me, you can have a magical experience. Because I was here in Rome for 3 days, specifically 3 days. So Rome for 3 days, and I got to experience the Vatican, the Pantheon, and a few other landmarks. I didn't get to see everything. I didn't get to see Trevi Fountain. I didn't get to see the Capitoline Museum. I didn't get to see the Etruscan Museum. I didn't get to see a bunch of things, right? I didn't even get to go to the Roman Forum. But the places I did go were really deeply magical. I hope you enjoyed that philosophy. I hope that sheds some light on the American or the outside of European worldview when it comes to traveling to these places. Because it's easy as a European, I don't blame you, to think Americans are doing it wrong or Chinese are doing it wrong. But you have to put yourself in their shoes. And once you do, maybe everyone can learn from everyone else. And I think that's the beauty about traveling. That when you come to a place, you get to learn something new. You get to be absorbed into a new way of life. You get a little bit of that culture. That's the beauty about culture. That's the beauty about diversity in culture. Is that not every culture is the same. You know, New York is work hard, hard, hard. It's hustle culture. It's very quick pace, very fast. You go to Madrid, it's very slow, very relaxed, very kind of quiet. You go to Italy, it's loud, it's vibrant. You go to Paris, it's also loud, it's vibrant. You go to London, quick pace, but also kind of relaxed. You know, you go to all these cities and you have a different point of view. And that is the beauty of travel. You don't need 3 months like Elizabeth Gilbert. If you have the chance to do 3 months, do it. But if you don't, you can experience that in a week. You can experience that in 3 days. You can experience that in 1 single hour of watching an urbanist video. All right, let's keep on walking around. Ted, you say totally agree when Madeline. Oh, cool. I love when couples are watching. When Madeline and I were in Rome a few months ago, we had planned items, but all the other days we were free for all, and we love Norwegian Air as well. Oh yeah, exactly. Norwegian Air is such an amazing service. If you're really on the budget, or you just don't want to spend that much on an airline and just kind of risk a few things, you might risk comfort. You might risk delay in flights. If you're okay with that risk, and you spend a lot less, it's great because you get to have a little bit more money for, you know, food or more another day trip or something like that. So I highly recommend Norwegian. But you might not need it because other airliners are also getting cheap. I saw that Airways to go from New York to Milan direct was only $500 round trip. And that is a luxury airliner. My philosophy as well, says Roy, just have a wander and you'll find. Surrender and let go. We do feel like we are hanging out with you. Oh, amazing, Gretchen. I'm glad you're enjoying your stay in Rome. I definitely am. My best memories in New York City are the ones where I'm lost or wandering or winging it. Yeah, same thing with New York. New York is very easy to kind of just surrender. Ooh, let's see this. Oh, this looks like good gelato. Oh yeah. Venchi. IBM is very generous with time off. Oh, I'm so glad that you're getting a lot of time off. I guess teachers in us have it made. Yeah, teachers do have it made. Luckily, my parents worked also in the school system. I know I have a few friends that were in the same situation where their parents were in the school system, so they had longer vacations. But even then, it's still kind of prohibitively expensive to go to Europe, even if you have 2 months vacation. So a lot of people in the U.S. still buy to go to, you know, to the Caribbean or to Florida, many of those other places. Ooh, look how this is candle lit. Yeah, that's so sad. In the UK, we have a standard 40 working days a year. Yeah, you know, Europe has it really well figured out when it comes to vacation time. I really appreciate that about Europe. We're stressed out in the U.S. Living in Europe changed my whole life. Have I considered living in Europe for a year to explore all the countries? Yes, I really do want to do that. I have to find a way. I have to find a way, you know, that I can either find work here, more freelance work, or get hired by a TV show, by History Channel, and just live in Europe for a year. One of those two. What is this? Oh my God. I don't even know what this is. I'm running out of battery. I kind of still want to be live. We're stressed out in the U.S. Yeah, you know, it's in the U.S. We have a few issues we have to work out in terms of. It's nice to have this kind of go 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 culture, this culture of create, make things bigger. It's done wonderful things, but at the same time, there have been a few downsides. But that's all a learning process. Every country goes through a learning process. Every culture goes through a process of evolution. No culture is perfect. Every culture has the opportunity to learn from another culture and become a more beautiful culture when they combine and they restructure and they rethink. You deserve a TV show. Thank you, Debbie. Have I considered? Oh, yes. I definitely want to live in Europe. Ideally, I actually would love to still live in London. Rome comes, I think, right now a very, 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 very close second. It might be tied with London, with the cities I right now would love to live in for a good year. Let's see what's down here. A lot of those lights that the guys are throwing have been falling down there. It's so cool. So it seems like the structure was made within this older Roman structure. I don't know where I am. I have no idea, but I'm right by the main road that is parallel to the Pantheon. I'm not sure what this specific place is. So if anyone knows, let me know. I'm going to research it because it's really interesting. That's kind of like mixed in with the architecture. Ooh, another aperitivo spot. Well, I like this. This kind of combines New York vibes with Italian vibes. I love these kind of cocktail bars that there's in Italy. They're vibrant, you know, they play music, but it's not too loud. And they have very comfy seating. I lived in London 3 years. I wish it was Rome, better weather, and yeah, Rome is significantly less expensive than London. London, you know, the cool thing about London is that there is a lot of ways to be on a budget and still eat well in London. Not as much as Rome. Rome truly has blown me away in terms of stretching a budget. You know, I highly recommend if you are on a tighter budget, it's okay. We are all on a tight budget at some point. If you decide to come to Europe and decide to come to Italy, rather than try to spend your budget and trying to get a bunch of Italian cities and getting airfare or train fare to transport yourself in all these different cities and maybe expending a little bit more on hotels because some cities might not have cheaper Airbnbs, consider staying in Rome for 2 weeks. You know, I've been here so far about 5 days, not really rushed to experience everything, and it's a really great way to experience the city. There's plenty to do, and you feel a lot relaxed, and you're not spending too much because in Airbnbs, if you book for a week, they give you a weekly discount. So if you book for 2 weeks, you get that discount twice. So you end up getting sometimes anywhere from 7%-ish to around 20% discount per week, which is great because that means the longer you stay in the place, the cheaper it is. And also, the longer you stay in the city, the more you kind of know where to stretch your budget. So if you want to eat well, but of course you don't have the biggest budget, since you're staying in the same city for 2 weeks, you know where to go, and it really helps out. And also, you don't need to spend that much in transportation because you're maybe just getting yourself a Metro Pass, and that's it. Oh, no, there's Uber in Italy, but it's the expensive Uber. It's called Uber X. So yeah, it's not Uber X, it's Uber Black, I think. But yeah, it's the more expensive Uber. Don't take cabs. I've heard many horror stories in cabs. Haven't experienced me personally, but even experts like Rick Steves cautions against cabs. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. However, it's very easy to get around via metro and bus. When it comes to handicap, if you're looking for something more accessible, I would recommend paying a little bit more and staying right in the middle of the center of Rome, so you can easily get around without using transportation, because otherwise you might spend a lot of money in private car. I am very close to the Trevi Fountain. Unfortunately, I'm running out of battery, so I got 10% left. So if you have any last remaining questions, feel free to ask. I really appreciate all of you tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this wander, and also a little bit more philosophizing about the art of travel and the beauty of eat, praying, and loving. Thank you so much for tuning in. And stay tuned every day, 3 p.m. Rome time. I'll be live talking about all the history, showing you all the wonderful things. I think I'm going to grab myself a good gelato right there at that corner store. It looks good. The line is long. Also, the gelato wasn't this huge mountain of brightly colored stuff. It actually looks really good. Thank you so much for watching. How am I able to travel so much? Is this your only job, or do you freelance? So yeah, I am traveling on a budget. Is this my only job? No. Urbanist is not my only job. I do also freelance. I'm a freelance filmmaker. So I make videos for companies. I usually work with companies. Sometimes I work with people. So I make videos for companies, or I make videos for performers, music videos. I make corporate videos as well, or live streams. And I got really lucky these past 3 months. I had a hard time my first 2 years of freelancing, but these past 3 months I've been getting a bunch of jobs very quickly. So luckily I've been able to I was working almost every day for the past month, and it was able to purchase this trip and be able to travel without working during this trip. So luckily I'm focusing all on Urbanist, and I make some money from Urbanist. But I don't accept too many sponsorships because I want to show you the places I really am most excited about. In these cities, it's hard to get a sponsorship. They're not really going to pay me to make videos about them. The cities that other cities are more keen to pay me. But I haven't covered them because they haven't truly taken me. I was taken by Maine because they seemed like really great people and I got really great vibes. And that's why I did a sponsorship to Maine and also a sponsorship to Bucharest. But yeah. And the other reason is I don't talk about products I don't really care about. So if I show you something, a product, or for example, I was sponsored by Stream Geeks, if it's something I care about, then I will be sponsored by them, and that's why I accept sponsorships, but it's not so frequent. So that's why I count on my freelance jobs in order to show you this, and your support. So your support helps a lot, and because of your support, I'm able to get this mic for crystal clear audio quality, and also I'm able to get data and have money for transportation around the city, so I can get around to all the sites and show it to you on a daily basis when I go on these virtual vacations with all of you. So thank you so much for watching. You can become a supporter right down there. Keep being awesome, and always keep on exploring. Have a great day, everyone. Ciao, buonanotte amici.